everyone. Welcome to Passionate and Practical, the art of dreaming, doing, and serving. We are here to explore your passions, help you, and give you practical tips on how to goal set and make your dreams come alive, and also serve others. So today I have with me a very special guest, Ashley Curbelo. We are going to be talking about traditions and making memories out of ordinary, everyday moments. So Ash, thanks so much for being on the show. Ashley's one of my dearest friends and life partners as far as friendship goes. And we're just here to chat about traditions and kind of what it looks like to set up traditions in your life and, like I said, make memories. So tell me, to start off, why are you so passionate about traditions?
So about a year ago, this kind of struck me. I was in grad school and was thinking about all the time I was spending doing homework instead of building traditions with my family. And I really started to think about what do traditions mean. Mm-hmm. And, by definition, a tradition is something that's passed on or carried on by word or action, from one group to another. And I think that makes it kind of daunting for people when they think about carrying on traditions from their family. So what I'm trying to do is kind of flip it on its head and say, let's take the very best of my family traditions, the very best of my husband's, and put them together to make our own. And it's just really important to me to do that as we kind of grow the foundation for our family.
I love that. And so tell us a little bit more about you and where you're from and kind of where traditions started for you as a young girl.
Yeah, so I am from the coast of Maine, and I absolutely love it there. We love where we live now, but going back is a pretty nostalgic experience. And I would say a lot of my traditions focus on polar ends of the spectrum, either in Christmas, wintertime, or in the summer, kind of going to the beach a lot. And what I love about that is that every time I smell an ocean or, a Christmas tree, it brings me immediately back to my grandparents' house and, cutting our tree down in their backyard, or to the beach with ice cream with my family. So
it's beautiful. So you and Ray have been married for a few years, but you don't have kids yet. So talk to us about how to kind of cultivate traditions in a home where you don't yet have kids, or maybe you're single. What does that look like?
Yeah, so we really are trying to cultivate traditions around kind of our goals in life. So, for example, we want to be active people. My husband more so than I, but he really likes to get outside and loves to go hiking. So I've committed that once in a while, not once a month, but once in a while, I'll go hiking with him. And that's something we'll want for our kids eventually too. And so it doesn't have to be everything he likes. Sometimes we go swimming or, to the farmer's market on a Sunday. And so it's just a mix of what both of us like, but we try to keep it kind of focused around what we want our lives to be like and what kind of values we want to instill in our family.
That is such a practical way to set traditions, is like, what do you want the culture of your home to be like? What do you want the culture of your life to look like? And aligning traditions with your goals. I love that. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the definition of traditions. What is the traditional definition, and then what does traditions mean to you?
Yeah. So for me, traditions mean coming up with an experience, a gesture, or time together where you repeat it, on a regular cadence, but not one that is stuffy or can't be changed. So I think by tradition, people get caught up in, we have to do something this way with no changes. And I think it's really important just to flex with your family, or your friends or whoever you're doing the tradition with. And that's what it means to me. It's like growing and building your family and being intentional about how you spend your time together, and then repeating that at whatever cadence makes sense for you.
Well, one thing I love about Ashley is that and one thing I love to brag on her about, is that she is starting to write a book about tradition. She's really passionate about traditions, and what she loves to do is just share practical ways for you and your family to cultivate traditions in your home. So some of it looks like what it looks like to start the first day of school. Some of it is around the holidays. Some of it is around gift giving. And so tell us a little bit more about your book and what your hopes are for it, what it'll look like, what it'll feel like, because it may become a tradition in and of itself for people to have this in their home and to kind of look back on memories and things like that. So tell us more.
Thank you for the pump up talk, because that would be a dream if it's something that people use every year. So to me, I am not like almighty knowing about traditions. I just have some what I think are cool ideas around those. And so the book in and of itself would talk a little bit about why traditions are important and how we can think about those differently than maybe we have in the past. Give you some practical tips or ideas for what traditions you could instill in your family or with your friends or whatever kind of scenario you're in. And then the third piece of it is kind of a workbook, like asking prompting questions. It's really easy when you're friends with someone sitting down. Like we can sit down and say, okay, how do we want to make the Christmas season special? What are we going to do together? But when you're sitting by yourself, it's nice to have prompting questions and a place to write down notes. So I envision it being something of a mix of that that focuses on different seasons, basically. So traditions often get clumped together with holidays, and that's not necessarily where I want it to go. It should be kind of a year-round, ordinary moments. How can we make those special and use them to cultivate a tradition?
I absolutely love that, because it is so important to take ordinary days and turn them into memories that'll last a lifetime. But this is one of the ones that does align with a holiday, and I want you to share a little bit about the hot cocoa.
Oh, sure. This one's a real winner. And the fact that we're doing it as adults when we don't have kids yet is also a little fun and interesting. So when I was a kid, my grandparents would take us to see this neighborhood in town to see Christmas lights, and we got so jacked up about it, really excited. And as you know, when you fall asleep in the car as a kid, your parents want you to have your PJs on before you get in the car so that they can take you in and put you to bed. But why not do that as an adult? So I love someday, and we're doing this year. We're taking Bear, and we will all have matching PJs because that's a thing now. I want to just jump in the car in our PJs. Parents can have hot cocoa. Bear can have like a pacifier or something. And we will just jump in the car and listen to Christmas music and look at lights. I think there's just something so slow and beautiful about that. Other than the gas money, it's free. And it's a beautiful time to spend time with one another. And then your car becomes not just a car, but it becomes a place where you're celebrating together. And I think that's like the epitome of going from ordinary to extraordinary.
So tell me a little bit more about kind of the traditions and how to touch on all five senses of what it looks like does a good tradition hit all of those things? Is it a smell thing? Is it a sight thing? Is it what you're seeing? So tell me, like for instance, let's kind of pick apart this hot cocoa thing.
Yeah.
Tell me what your taste like.
So
just describe it in a crazy way.
So for me, I absolutely love singing in the car. Right now, The Greatest Showman is on repeat every day when I drive to work. It's a pump up time for me. And so I've made the culture of my car, a pump up one. And so for me, with the hot cocoa and the car thing, it's all about the Christmas music, which I think just has some majesty to it.
Favorite song?
Oh, gosh.
I know, I put you on the spot.
White Christmas. So I really love older Christmas music. I mean, I'll always throw in some Mariah Carey. You have to do that. Just pay respect.
All I want for Christmas is you.
Beautifully done.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, you're welcome. So that's important to get the mood going with music and stuff, and it gets you into the spirit. But then the hot cocoa piece, it's just like, who doesn't want a little treat with tiny little marshmallows in there? It's just so much fun. And then having like soft fuzzy pajamas on, it's just a fun activity. And then when you take a picture of adults in onesies, especially the guys, when my kids see that someday, they're gonna think it's hilarious. It's just good, lighthearted fun. I feel like in life we're so serious about so many things, and I can be very stoic and serious, very introverted at times, but for the most part I just want to bring joy into the moment, and that's a way to do it.
That's awesome. So one more thing on holidays, and then we'll move on from holidays and kind of talk about the rest of the year, because we want to make sure we highlight that. But so one of our family's traditions around Christmas time is to put on Harry Connick Jr. and decorate the Christmas tree and dance around the living room marching to toy soldiers on parade. And so my favorite thing about this is that the music is loud and we're marching around the living room and we're laughing, we're giggling and whatever. And we're in our PJs, obviously, because I think the whole month of December, it's appropriate just to wear PJs all the time.
That's fashion etiquette.
So the twist on this tradition for me and my family is that my whole family does not remember that this is actually a tradition. So I am the one marching in my living room saying, "Come on, guys, join me. It's Harry Connick, don't you remember?" And everyone's like, no. And so basically I'm the laughing stock of the family when it comes to this tradition that I, every year as an adult, have decided like we are doing because it's a part of our childhood, yet no one in my family remembers.
But the beauty of this moment is that now you have a child. Just like your mom used to tell you, when you have your own kids, you can do whatever you want. Mom, the time has come.
Yep.
And little Baird's going to be marching around that living room with you.
He absolutely will. He absolutely will. He's going to be a year on December 31st. So hopefully around Christmas
put a
time,
walker in front of
he will
him.
be
He'll
marching.
be fine.
I mean, no doubt about it.
And I think that's a great example, though, of where you just flip it on its head. It doesn't have to be perfect or the way everybody remembered it. And you can carry it on in any fashion you want to. I mean, as a kid, we used to decorate the Christmas tree all together. Mm-hmm. And then I realized maybe middle school, this isn't very fun because my mom puts beads on. I mean, she makes the most gorgeous Christmas tree, like shopping window worthy. And so probably middle school, high school, absolutely did not love doing it with her. But now as an adult, it's turned into a tradition she still carries on, but it's like a gift to us. She knows how much we love seeing the house decorated, and she does that for us. So it just changes over time.
So tell us a little bit more about your hopes for sharing this book. What is kind of your timeline? I know that you don't want to put too much pressure on it, but what do you think? What do you think timeline-wise?
So I have actually completed an outline of sorts and have a ton of ideas on paper, and so it's really building out some of those ideas around thinking about what do you do planning tradition-wise when it comes to seasons, holidays versus non-holidays, the school year. You know, I don't have kids, but I have 3 nieces and nephews and 1 more nephew on the way, and we hope to have kids someday. So really incorporating it into something that can be for anyone. It doesn't matter what your age is. You can pick it up and enjoy and go through the process, and would love to have it done within the next 6 to 8 months to start putting out there for publishing purposes.
I'm a big believer in self-fulfilling prophecies. So
Absolutely.
when you speak it out, it's going to happen. Absolutely.
I know it will happen. Everyone I've talked about this idea with has absolutely loved it and offered up an idea to put in the book. So I'm confident.
That's fun. So tell us a little bit. Let's get practical here. So tell us 2 practical ways that people can start traditions today.
So I would say, we'll give an example if you're single. So if you're single and you are, with your spouse and you want to start a tradition today, look at what season you're in. Right now, we are in the summer season in the middle of the South, and it is hot. And so what are some traditions that would provide us an opportunity to spend time together? That's the goal here, and to do something that really brings both of us joy. So for me, going to the farmer's market and getting my flowers is just, it does not get much better than that. $20 bouquet, fresh fruits and vegetables, and maybe some homemade hand lotion here and there, and that is just all I need for the rest of the week. And for my husband, it looks like going for a walk with the dogs, or cleaning up the gardens and the yard outside, or going for a hike, like I said. So we are trying to do our best to do that at least once a month, where we're spending that explicit time together and going to do those things that each one of us enjoy. So look at the season you're in and look at what your goals are. There are times when we are super busy. I mean, this fall is going to get insane, and we are going to work a ton. And so our traditions at that time will be a lot more focused around having you and Blake and Bear over for a movie on Friday night and just eating pizza and watching a movie, because that's kind of all we can muster up, or hosting a game night. That's something we do all the time with friends. So it's just all about what you want to accomplish and the time and place you're in. It should not be a stressful activity.
Absolutely. That key highlight on that. I think when traditions and holidays become stressful, it removes the joy from it. And one way to kind of bring the joy back into anything, but especially traditions or holidays or stressful seasons, is just to come back to a place of gratitude. So when we're thankful for our spouse, when we're thankful that we have busy lives because we've got such full calendars, not because we're busy for the sake of being busy or just trying to survive, but because our calendars are full with we have a job to work, we have a spouse to make meals for, and we have community to engage in. So just kind of coming back to that place. But so this other thought about how you can invite others into the tradition. So how do you not be a stickler and have grace around it and be inviting? Because sometimes I feel like if I get something in my head of something I want to accomplish, and me and Ray have this in common, if we have it in our minds that we're going to do something. And
Do not deviate from the path.
Right. If it doesn't happen, like all bets are off. I'm as crazy as a hungry baby. I don't know. And so how do you invite others into it in a gracious way that says your input and your passions and the things that you love matter to this tradition?
So I would say this is, again, where the flexibility around traditions becomes super important. So, for example, a tradition that we have on Easter is to go to Mass in the morning and then have an Easter brunch. And that's it. Who comes with us? Totally ball. It's up in the air. We don't care who joins us. I mean, we care, but it doesn't matter. It can be our friends, our family, whoever's able and wants to spend that time with us is great. The same thing goes around hosting game nights or dinners. You know, we are. I have an idea for how things are going to happen, but not set in stone timelines for how they'll happen. So maintaining just a lightness of flexibility and thinking about what you really want to get out of it. Most often, you didn't want 20 people to come over for dinner. You wanted your family and friends to enjoy one another over a meal. And so that can happen with 20 people, but it can also happen with 5 people, and it can still be just as amazing. So I think just giving yourself grace and staying flexible is the key to that.
Staying flexible, like stretching and
yes, a lot of stretching. Mental flexibility, just deep breathing quite a lot when you're in the kitchen with your husband and he won't stop stirring, even though you've stirred it 6 times. You just got to be flexible. Well,
speaking of stirring
moments.
in your kitchen, Ashley and I have this new tradition where we like to get together on Sunday nights, pull our groceries together, make a list of what we're going to eat for the week. So we, a couple weeks ago, we made 4 breakfasts, 4 lunches, 4 dinners for all 4 of us, 4, for both couples, and it was the most amazing week not having to think about meals. So we made things like overnight oats, which Ray calls saturated oats. We made chicken salad. We made ropa vieja, which is a Cuban dish that Ashley's husband is Cuban. So, let's touch on that a little bit. So your husband's Cuban. What are some Cuban traditions or things that he loves to do that kind of create and kind of hone in on his culture?
So for him, I think it comes mostly in the form of food, which I'm really grateful for because it's amazing food. So when it comes to Thanksgiving, and we've kind of gotten away from being 2 meals at Thanksgiving and more switching to more a Cuban meal at Christmas time. But one really exciting kind of tradition I'd like to start cultivating is some type of like Tropicana party where we all kind of pay homage to his culture and heritage and come together in like the late summer, early fall time and just have a cookout. Like, again, cookouts are very, very basic. It's something people have been doing for hundreds of years, but spice it up a little bit, serve something other than hamburgers and hot dogs, and, wear fun, brightly colored dresses, and you've got a Tropicana party. And people will remember that for the rest of the year. And they can't wait every year for the Curbelo's Tropicana party. Which I now have to start planning because I just put that on the air.
I know.
Commitment.
So instead of Cinco de Mayo, it could be like, what's a catchy way to say that?
You're putting me on the spot.
I know.
Copacabana at Casa de Curbelo. I don't know.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. So how has your faith played a role in your passion for traditions? And tell me a little bit about your faith and if you could dive into that.
So I, in general, traditions tend to focus, especially around the holidays, tend to focus on something that actually has nothing to do with that season. So I really get frustrated around Thanksgiving because we just get together and eat turkey. Not my favorite meal. I don't really love just sitting and eating, and you spend all day waiting for this meal. And it's supposed to be a time of giving thanks and gratitude, and we forget to get back to that. And so one idea I love for the future, and something we've started for ourselves actually, is around Thanksgiving time frame, declutter your house. Get ready to donate anything that you don't need, that doesn't serve its purpose in your home anymore, and donate that to someone that does. Especially for kids cleaning out toys, that prepares those toys to be re-given during the Christmas season, and it also prepares your home to be ready to receive gifts on Christmas but most importantly, I think it reminds us that we should be thankful and grateful for what we have, which is what Thanksgiving is supposed to be all about, and less about the turkey. And so to me, it's just kind of getting back to the root of what those holidays are all about. Same goes for Christmas. Like, I will still do the Christmas music and cookies, decorating, and all the Christmas lights and the wrapping paper, and all that is so joyful to me. But to me, midnight mass is just one of the most magical times I've ever had in a church, and it just fills me up with such joy. And compared to other parts of the liturgical year, it's just a joyful one, and it makes you feel so good. So for me, that's a big part of our Christmas tradition, is going to Mass and just enjoying all that God has to offer in such a special time of the year.
So coming back around to your book, let's talk about some of the other traditions that'll be in your book. So you mentioned the toy thing. So collecting toys around the holidays, maybe it's around Thanksgiving, and giving them away to families. Just kind of diving into what your community has to offer, whether it's Salvation Army or if it's
Catholic
help me
Charities.
out here. Yeah, Catholic Charities.
Goodwill.
Goodwill. All of those are great options. Or if you live in more of an urban neighborhood, or a neighborhood where you know that there's need, is just offering neighbors some of those toys. And then also, one of the things that you mentioned is Chick-fil-A on the first day of school. If you are blessed to have a Chick-fil-A close to you, then when it's time for your kids to go to school, on the first day of school, they get dressed up, they're in their first day outfits and the ones that they're going to get the pictures in. But why not, in those pictures with their cute backpacks, have a bag of Chick-fil-A breakfast? Hello.
Yeah, going out to eat before school is just like wild. In a kid's mind, that's crazy. And so why not give them that gift on the first day of school? A friend of mine who lives in Huntsville does that. And I just love it because it makes something that would be already a little nerve-wracking, maybe sometimes the first day of school, it makes it really fun and exciting because you're going to Chick-fil-A. So it's funny, yesterday my mom was talking about Chick-fil-A. We don't have them in Maine where we're from. We actually have one, but it's 2 hours away from her house. And so she got really excited. They come down for 2 weeks. I was going through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and I said, "Mom, they are just the nicest people here." And she said, "Oh, we've got to go there. I can't wait. Put that on the list of restaurants when we get to Chattanooga." And so Chick-fil-A is on our dining exploration while she's down here. She's obsessed.
I cannot wait to meet your mom, because that accent,
the
New
you'll love
England
it.
accent, just gets me every time. I don't know if I'll be able to keep a straight face, but the good thing is she has a great sense of humor.
She does have a great sense of humor, yes.
I know this from all of the great, crazy stories you tell me about her.
Yes.
So I'm excited. Whenever you watch this, Mom, I'm so excited to meet you. And so lastly, and then we'll kind of move on to the rapid fire round, is just how do traditions serve other people? So you touched on the toy thing, but how do we make sure that our traditions are not inward and self-focused, but how are they serving our family, our community, and most importantly, the kingdom of God?
That's a great question, and something to think about often as we do focus on how we spend time with our families and our friends. I think often it does become kind of centered in an inner circle. But one of the things that I love to do, gift giving, we'll talk a little bit more about that someday, but I just really love to love on other people through letters or gifts. And so one tradition I have is around Christmas time. I mean, everybody sends Christmas cards, and you might not think of that, or holiday cards, as a tradition. But the way my husband and I make it special is that we sit, and even though it's a printed picture of us, we write a handwritten note to each person. And it does take a lot of time, but it's a lot of fun, and it gives us a chance to connect with those people. And be, a gift to them. We do something similar, like when I have parties or something, making sure that people have food to walk away with, or that we've served a purpose to celebrate someone else, whether it be a birthday party or, a momentous occasion because of a job promotion, and just focusing that intent on celebrating other people and, just the goodness that's in their lives.
That is beautiful. Well, we're going to end our time with kind of a rapid fire, which is just some questions for you that we can get to know you just a tiny bit more before we end this part of the show. And so buckle up. We're going to go pretty quickly, and then we'll be finished. So rapid fire. What inspires you?
Oof. Honestly, I have so many women in my life that inspire me. You're one of those people, just to be a strong, loving, caring, joyful woman and to be totally authentic in myself.
Thank you. You inspire me too. Tear. That seems so disingenuous. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
No,
I know.
I freaking love you.
I know.
So a book you're currently loving.
Ooh, Next Year in Havana. It's a fiction story about from the perspective of a grandmother and then from her granddaughter who is taking her ashes back to Cuba. And so it's a book on tape my husband and I are listening to when we're traveling.
That's awesome. And then tell us a bit about your morning routine.
Ooh, morning routine. I'm a pretty lean morning routine gal. I would love to say that I am an early riser who has everything done by 6 o'clock, but I would be totally lying. And I'm okay with that because this is my authentic self. I love sleep. My husband gets up uber early and says goodbye before I'm even out of bed. So I generally get up, take a shower, hair and makeup done, get it done immediately, go downstairs. I've already got all my stuff together, pour a coffee, and I'm out the door and head to work. So I want to change that about myself. I would love to be more productive in the morning, but I try to get my day started pretty quickly without too much dilly-dally.
One thing I love about the way you talk about mornings is not waking up just for the sake of going to work. You wake up for you. And
Yes.
I think that that's so important. For me, I'm a mom, so I'm at home with Bear, and I usually wake up because he's crying and he needs food, and my day automatically starts with someone else's needs. And then ever since you told me that a few weeks ago, I've been kind of setting an alarm so that I wake up, I can make my cup of coffee, I can do whatever I want to do, journal, pray, read, whatever that looks like, and then he can wake up, and that kind of just sets a tone for my day. Instead of responding, it's being kind of proactive and serving myself in a way that's more self-care focused.
And people get caught up in the day being about going to work, forgetting that you have the morning before work, you have probably a lunch break or two, and then you have after work, which is an even longer period of time that you spend in the office. So it's really all about how do you think about your day versus how do you think about your work day.
Right. So what is your go-to snack?
Go-to snack. Right now, it's probably, I just bought cherries, so it's the cherries that are in my fridge. I love summer for this reason. The cherries that we bought together at Costco
Yes.
and split in two because nobody in their right mind can eat that many cherries before they go bad.
Here's the funny thing. Today, we are on set and we're filming, and I brought my half of the cherries from Costco, and then Andre, who's doing our video, he had cherries from this week, but then he forgot that he had cherries from last week. So we have, a
lot of cherries to eat. That's great. I haven't had breakfast, so.
If we want to turn into a cherry, that doesn't even make sense. Whatever. Anyways, we've got cherries on cherries here.
Got it.
And then lastly, if you could give your younger self any piece of advice, what would that be?
Oh, just that, young Ashley and young Lexi, both, you are perfect, whole, and complete just as you are. You are not broken. You don't need to be fixed. Just be yourself and be totally authentic, and the world will love you because he loves you.
So beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been a dream of mine that is coming true today, and I've been so blessed by our friendship. I've been blessed by the way you've encouraged me, the way that you've loved on me so well, and the way that you have supported me by being here today, but also the many brainstorming sessions before that. So thanks so much. So ladies, you are infinitely valuable. You have a gift, you have talents, and you have dreams in you that God has specifically placed in you that only you can do. So he has a purpose for you, and I want you guys to dive into that. So thank you all so much for joining us, and have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch. If this message has encouraged you, then please click to subscribe and share with a friend who may be inspired by the message. Also, if you have an event coming up and you're looking for a speaker, click the link below to get in touch with me.